Good Monday morning. Wow. It's already Monday morning. Goodness gracious. And welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine Age TV channel. YouTube, that is. Look at that Indian motorcycle right there. How about that, huh? Boy, I tell you what. That's a ride. I'm going to tell you what. It's a ride. Woo. We rode yesterday. Not long. I mean, we rode for maybe about an hour, maybe, I'd say. And wow. Yeah, wow. Talk about getting cold. Even having, warm gear on for the most part and gloves. Even down here in Florida. I know. For me, it's Florida. How can it be that cold? It's just a real dry, cold air. And the pressure on your body. It's just, I'm so used to riding the motorcycle with the Batwing that totally deflects all the air away from you. So this whole front end of this bike, it's basically like your wall. It just deflects all the air and things away from you. These bikes is totally what we call naked. It's just kind of a word because you're just so open to all the air. And man, you really this is right. This just brings back the reality of riding a motorcycle because you have so much pressure on your body. So when you ride these motorcycles, it's just a whole different feeling of that air hitting you as you're going down the road. And for me, my primary motorcycles have always been with the Batwings here for like the last 10 plus years. But years ago when I was young, like my daughter's age, I had the open riding motorcycle, so I didn't know any different. And it's just a whole different way of riding. And it's just a pressure. It's incredible how much pressure is on you when you ride down the road. But yeah, and then anyways, so and what's today's pressure? Air pressure, right? I think to myself, yeah, actually I woke up this morning and this cool morning again. It's very cold. Look at the people across the way. They're covering their plants up so they hope they don't lose them. Because it is cold. I mean, this is like being up in Virginia right now. This is every bit of being up in Virginia. The front door and going to my barn in the morning and just brrr. I mean, just cold. Oh, yeah. And today, I don't think it's going to be, I think today may be 50, maybe. But it's a real dry air. That's what it is. The humidity is gone. Yeah, so anyways, what am I talking about today? I don't know. I mean, all sincereness, I woke up this morning, I really thought, gee, there's just really some, what am I going to continue to have a theme of something? I mean, without spending a whole night reading a gazillion things to try to figure out what you're going to say, and I really didn't. So I thought to myself this morning, pressure. Isn't there a song, Under Pressure? Who was that? What rock group or song group said Under Pressure? And I think that the word pressure is such a general term in so many aspects, like the jet that's going above us, right? You hear that? That's got his cabin pressure. Yeah, the air, you go up you go up a mountain, how your ears, you have to pop your ears because of the pressure. Then I think to myself, the tire pressure in vehicles that lets you go down the road. I mean, think about that big tire, but think how much tire pressure that has in it to make it so the tires are full and go down the road. So I thought to myself, pressure. Why don't we talk about pressure? I think it's so related to that we're in, but really a nice looking bike. Really good looking bike, but here's the thing. Yesterday, I got a check engine light on it. And I'm like, yo, here we go. I'm like, yeah, the guy sold this bike for a reason, I mean, you never know until you know. But part of me was like, yeah, the guy's had issues with this bike. I mean, I read about it. I'm on motorcycle forums, car forums. I mean, some things are just jinxed. I mean, I'm sincere. I just think vehicles are like people, more challenged than others, I guess you could say. So yesterday, but since they put a stage one flash on this because they put a different air intake on this here, and they put a different exhaust, they had to flash it. So it's an emission thing. So I rode the bike. I was like, oh, whatever. I got a truck and trailer. I got my kid next to me. If things get crazy, then I'll just have to ride the bike, and she'll have to ride in the back of the bike, and there you go. We'll make it all work. But I rode her and really didn't get overly concerned. But and then late yesterday, she sat out on the driveway, and I started her up, and the check engine light went away. So who knows? I think it's emission based. It's like these are so temperamental, but yeah, the blah blah blah. So anyway, so yeah, let's talk about the pressure. And I'm thinking to myself, very accurate for where we are right now. And I think to myself as we get my coffee here, my morning coffee, and had the family over, made another meal. I've been making meals like every day. Meal burned out. You have to fix a meal for a bunch of people. It's a project, but that isn't so much the project. The project is cleaning up, I mean, my daughter, she spent like close to 30 minutes the other night just cleaning up. I make all the food, and I help clean up, but at the same time, I'm like, geez, I just made all this food. I think somebody else needs to try to help too, which they do. No criticism. So good meal, but kept it pretty simple. But I think to myself, pressure, yeah. Who here isn't under pressure on the holidays? I mean, that's unfortunately it can be pretty bad. Meaning that it just people get, you just as you know, as an individual in life, you don't like to be pressured. I mean, isn't that the thing about life? We don't want to be pressured. Yeah, but yet more than ever, are we being pressured? I mean, I think to myself, we'll just take the car industry to kind of keep the car channel theme going here. And boy, it's toasty warm in my mom's house. I have my window open in my bedroom because it's just too hot. I mean, I wake up 2 o'clock in the morning just like, Jesus crepe. Yeah, pressure of being hot, right? But anyways, so I think the car industry, just with the car industry, the automotive manufacturers being pressured by the green agenda. So more than ever, the automotive industry is getting hammered. And this isn't just automotive industry, it's manufacturing, it's businesses, it's commercial buildings, it's, the building industry. It's infinite, the pressure by the green agenda of trying to make us humans treat Mother Nature friendlier. I was saying about the flying tiger, Copeland, or I think whatever that name of that toy company is, that is being pressured to change from plastic toys to a different material toy, which happens to be wood right now. So the pressure from the green agenda and the carbon footprint is, it's in all aspects of our life at this point. From farming, building homes, building commercial properties, designing vehicles. So it's a pretty long list. And I just think that, wow, more than ever, we're witnessing in front of us the pressure of the automotive industry having to go a different direction on how they design vehicles to transport us. Even though I think to myself, we're living in such a technology age more than ever, where so many people don't leave their home because they have the access to the internet to do so much from their home to work and to order things. And just in my own neighborhood, it seems like some of my neighbors, I have one neighbor that lives across the street, and I know that he works from home, and it's like you just rarely see anything going on as far as people leaving the property and going back and forth. You just kind of sense. I see a lot of Amazon and a lot of UPS trucks going up his driveway. So in that scenario, I think one of my neighbors there, they work from their home and they don't drive up down the road. So the point is, I just think that the transportation sector over the next 10 years, 20 years is really going to change. I think more so of less people are out and about. I don't know. That's a huge guess on that. And it's kind of even for me, I'm like, yeah, I have a hard time believing that. But at the same time, as well as I do, if you can order things from your home and have them delivered to your house, and it's just the same amount of money or maybe cheaper, why are you jumping in your vehicles? I just think, and that's why the oil industry, I was preaching back in the early part of the year of the oil industry. I was saying to everybody that the use of fuel isn't what the media machine and the oil markets are telling us, because more and more people don't travel and don't get out and about because of what I just mentioned about the availability to order things. So that's why the barrel of oil is back to $70 barrel range, because people just aren't using the fuel like. I mean, we're still using a ton of fuel. Don't get me wrong, but there's definitely a percentage of people that don't. Right now in the D.C. area, I've mentioned it many times, people don't drive to work. 30% of the workforce in D.C., L.A., I think New York, San Francisco, I mean, the big cities, apparently, it's like 30% of the people are remotely working from home. And then there's a ton of businesses now that people going to work 2 days out of the week, maybe three. So they kind of alternate their schedule. So the reason I'm bringing that up is because I'm saying the pressure of the automotive industry more than ever is toe healing to the green agenda, that we're going to have to shift away from the ICE vehicles and need to go to electric vehicles. And even though there's a lot of pushback, I like the Toyota guy. The Toyota guy, I think, is just really trying to be more of, hey, everybody, I'm not playing the game this quickly, this easily. It's just too easy. That's the thing about pressure is, when you pressure somebody to do something, is it usually easy to accomplish that? If anybody's married, if anybody's a manager or a leader of a business or whatever you may have, your family, when you want to do something, you kind of start wanting to pressure people to kind of do something. Yeah, how easy is that? And that's why I talk about it numerous times, that the existing media machine and sitting administration, it seems like the pressure, it seems like the minority is presenting like they're the majority. And that's where I think that's the danger, is where we have people that jump on board with minority to grow the minority to the majority, if they ever do, because of the way it's presented through the information. And look at Twitter. I talk about Elon Musk all the time. I talk about this guy like every day. Why do I talk about this guy every day? Because it's this guy. Talk about a guy that's under pressure. Talk about the Tesla vehicle. That's his stock that's under pressure. I mean, you're talking about a stock that's lost. The year's not even over. It's at 60% loss. And everybody knows that whoever got into the Tesla stocks early, they became millionaires. I mean, if you know how to play that game, I wish I did. I mean, I wish I would have been cognizant of the Amazon stock, the Apple stock, the Tesla stock. Everybody out there knows that if you pick the right stocks 10, 15 years ago, today, if you did things right, you've made millions of dollars from stocks, which that's where a lot of the wealth is. I mean, I think more than ever today, there's so much wealth that's been that has come to this country, has happened in this country because of companies that I just mentioned that have made people millionaires, that know how to do the stock market correctly, and just have a good job. They're not making millions of dollars a year. They become millionaires because they knew how to play stock market. That's huge. Like I say, I wish I was cognizant and was more abreast to realizing that. Instead, I was more the guy that, I've created my own wealth through my own hardships of hard work, hard labor, and the mistakes, the good and the bad. But I think, boy, if I knew how to play the markets, because I've earned the monies that I could have played with, I think I would have been that much bigger. But I just really never had anybody to pull me aside. We all fall. We kind of all in life. We all kind of follow each other. We all kind of. That's what you just know. Be careful who you hang out with, or be blessed for who you hang out. I gotta get my coffee. Coffee, and there's an old lawn. I have lawn up here every day, right? And what are the markets going to do today? It's kind of weird. The Fox Business News doesn't really got the same routine this morning. What's wrong with that? And a lot of you, I think, have today off from after being Christmas Day. I know some members aren't going to work today because it's it's the day after Christmas. And, geez, so a week from today, oh my gosh, 2023. Wow. So, back to the pressure, I'm just thinking to myself this morning that, are we under a lot of pressure? Doesn't it seem like the car industry is kind of creating the pressure for you to reevaluate your feelings about the ICE versus the electric vehicle. Even though there's stories being told of people up north. I mean, geez, anybody watching my channel, it's way up north is just getting blasted. I feel for you. Wow, it's incredible what's going on with the so-called global warming. I mean, but I think the argument will be that, of course, we have global warming because the weather has such a radical change from this to that. I mean, I'm not the person that has all that knowledge, expertise, and so. But the whole point of that is that people up north are having, I think, challenges to recharge their vehicles, electric vehicles, in brutally cold weather. They just don't do very well. There's a story of somebody apparently up north there, some known celebrity or somebody that their car, they never could recharge their car. Yeah, they tried to charge their car. It was like at 40%, and it's so cold, they just can't get the car to recharge. I mean, I haven't looked at that story. So the guy is had to ask a friend to come pick him up to get him to work or something. I don't know. My brother was telling me that last night. But back to the pressure. We're being pressured more than ever to reevaluate how we feel about the green agenda, which is all about the electric vehicle and so many other things, solar panels for your house. I mean, just lots of stuff. But I think a lot of people feel overpressured on that. They just don't like it. And it irritates them. And that's what I think what's so interesting about Elon Musk is this guy now. Is this guy under a lot of pressure? Yeah, he's under a lot of pressure right now. This guy's got a company that's getting Tesla's always had challenges. But I think even more so, that he's lost his play money. You know, Elon's been blessed on people buying into his company and giving him so much wealth to be able to get through challenging times, and barely. But I think he's losing the carbon footprint credits that companies were paying him. I think that's decreasing because between Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Ford, I can't even, it's off the tip of my tongue, Hyundai, General Motors, Stellantis Automotive Group that bought out Dodge, Ram. I mean, all these businesses, all these automotive manufacturers, they are now creating their own carbon footprint tax credits. So is Elon getting his $1 billion a year of payment from them? I don't think he is. I'd be curious as to what that number is. As he's over there in China. Yeah. So who's under pressure? You know, a lot of it's kind of interesting. You know, just don't know how to take the conversations, but it seems like a lot of businesses are being pressured to get out of the China relationships. I mean, who hasn't heard that conversation? Which I think that's a good idea. How factual and how far it goes. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really digging information into that too deep. But back to the pressure of Elon Musk, here he's bought Twitter, and you read the articles of all the pressure that was put on Twitter from apparently outside government agencies, and they're not. And now it's showing they weren't recognized. They had an abbreviation. I just read it yesterday. I can't really remember the exact abbreviation, but basically there was a code of a non-descripted government agency. They didn't want to, tell them who they were, if they're the CIA or FBI or whatever agency it may be. They didn't want to disclose who it was, for apparently the information going back and forth to change the message through Twitter. Basically, I'm sure people are very abreast right now what's going on with Twitter, being that it's very obvious that Twitter was part of misinformation and deliberate misinformation controlled by governing bodies. And so was Twitter pressured to do that? Were these executives pressured by the CIA and FBI and other governing bodies and political parties to abide by their pressure or pay the consequences? I mean, is that what went on? Or was Twitter more, all on board that they felt that they had the right tool and they're more leaning one way versus the other and were more than proactive? And I think it's interesting how people operate, because I really think when it's all said and done, I think that there's going to be Twitter executives downtown. I really think that the pressure on these executives is going to continue to resign executives, the pressure from the political parties, political party, and individuals is going to grow and force the hand that these individuals have to go downtown and present their stories of what they were doing to misinform people through a social platform. So I think they're going to get pressured even more and more as time progresses. And I think to myself, it's just interesting how people that participate in all this, I think to myself, you're an idiot to work for a big organization and to participate in, in so many ways, illegal activities or devious activities. And do you ever step back and think to yourself that maybe the company's bought by somebody else one day and all this stuff's going to be exposed? I mean, this makes me think kind of like you're a robber or a thief and you go to a business or go to somebody's home, and unbeknownst to you, there's a camera, surveillance system, and a security system that's watching your activities, what you do, but you're oblivious to that. You don't think that through. And that's how and just like people, I've talked about this many times, your phone is being tracked by everything and everywhere you go. So if you go commit a crime at 2 a.m. at the 7-Eleven gas station and you steal from them and then you go home and then about a day later you get a knock on your front door, it's because your phone was your witness to the scene of the crime. But if you don't think this stuff through, I mean, just where we are in today's society, just like everything that you're typing and whatever you're doing on your computers, I mean, everybody knows everything. Your car habits, how you drive, you get in a car accident, yeah, the black box will be pulled if it's a radical accident to see the truth of what really happened. If you were going 100 miles an hour and you couldn't stop and you killed somebody, or it may play to your advantage that you weren't going fast and that you braked in time, but the other party was at fault. I mean, there's lots of variables up. Here we go. Yeah, here comes the distraction of my now I'm under pressure. Here she comes, the hummingbird right there. She is. Yeah, nothing against radical that came in too. Yeah, here we go. So I think about Elon's disclosures of what he's now showing us of what was the goal, which we all know was to mislead people to believe something that persuaded them to think differently, to maybe vote a different way. Isn't that the underlying message? Hey there.
Count your blessings, Julian. I solved all the world's problems.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Sitting in the car drinking your coffee? Wow. That's concerning, right? Yeah. So, boy, I tell you what, I didn't even get to sleep last night till like 3 a.m. Yeah. You woke back up at 5:30. Yeah. What?
Can you be honest with me?
Oh, I thought I was honest with you.
Do you think this hairstyle looks good? Like, I didn't turn the video off.
Oh, yeah, you look good. Look great.
No.
Go ahead, Brett. This will be done in a few minutes.
I have a question.
Yeah, we'll talk about your question in a while. You look beautiful.
No, Dad, I have a question.
You look beautiful.
It's a personable question.
Personal.
I don't know what you said.
Yeah, well, no, you didn't.
You can tell.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good.
Right. It's frizzed out.
I have to go wash it.
Okay, go wash it. There's the secret.
It's kind of bothering me.
Well, if it's bugging you, then do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about the personal hygiene that we're talking about this morning. The pressure. She feels pressured to have her look good, Yeah, who doesn't have the pressure when you're a young kid? When you're in high school, just getting into a career, the pressure, right? The pressure by the parents, the pressure by your friends, the pressure by the teachers. You already know this. Yeah, the pressure, and sadly, sometimes the pressure gets really radical, but the pressure also gets things done. It's out under the gun that you didn't accomplish something and then you realize you have to go do it. And what do? Yeah, you bust your chops to get it done because you're under pressure, right? I was going to say something else when I was on that Twitter thing, but, it's just this distraction of trying to make conversations until the kid and Poppy show up. I got to get some more coffee. Oh, yeah. It's all ads this morning. I mean, that's no lie. So they're not doing their regular business thing this morning. Who's today? I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, are the banks closed today? I have no idea because it's day after Christmas. Maybe that's the way it is. I'm just oblivious to that. I have no idea. So yeah. So the pressure, right? We're talking about the pressure this morning, and I just think the automotive industry. There's a lot of pressure for them to change on how they design vehicles, and I think that when we get into the social platform and the political agendas, there's a lot of pressure, and I think sadly that the media machine is putting pressure on people that's not factual. Is that correct? I don't know. I mean, I think it is. I mean, to me, my perception from watching I mean, here's the thing. When does the general media just turn off Elon Musk? I think that's the next thing. Does Elon Musk? I mean, here's the thing, which I think is powerful. You just ignore. I think that goes on a lot. My dad, what does my dad do? He's in another room with a microwave oven. Yeah. So, I think that, yeah, when they get under pressure, some people are just like, nope. They just hit the ignore button. Yeah, who doesn't do that, right? Ignore, because you don't want to be under pressure. You don't want to have to face the pressure, right? I mean, who doesn't do that? Yeah, I mean, we're all guilty of that. Yeah, that person's not responding. Why? Because they're being pressured to get something out of you, or you out of them, or whatever it may be. And then, the pressure just gets too much pressure. Yeah, right. So, but I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I had a great thought about how Elon Musk and how it created the pressure for the Twitter, created the pressure. Well, then, okay, so let's just go to during the COVID, during the pandemic, and how many people were pressured to stay home? How many people were pressured to wear a mask? How many people were pressured to get the vaccine? Wow, I mean, it's just beyond unbelievable of what we witnessed here when this pandemic came in. The pressure. I mean, and it was even divisions in families. I've heard these stories that the family, if you didn't get vaccinated, then you just weren't accepted in the family anymore. Yes. And if you didn't wear a mask, you were looked down on. There were borderline major fights of people. It's been divisions because of the virus. And then for me, what intrigues me about how during that pandemic, on how Donald Trump was the guy that, I mean, here's the thing. I'm not going to promote either party. I don't want to come across my channel that I'm going to say the one party's much, much better than the other party. And even though, yeah, there's differences, but there's so much into it. Yeah, no doubt. We've got a sitting administration that's doing some really things that I don't agree with. But for Trump and his time frame, people, you have one side of the country that loves this policy, the other doesn't. Yeah. But here's what I'm trying to convey to you under the pressure. So for Trump, he felt he was under pressure to put this country back into order as fast as possible. So when the pandemic set in, he was the guy that created the payroll protection plan that started the handouts. He was the guy that was supporting the government and the state-funded unemployment benefits. I mean, so for people who don't like Trump, people got rewarded from Trump for the money to sit at home. To me, it's not like, so that, there's just a love-hate that people don't step back and think about. That guy started the handouts. Yeah. I mean, hello. And then he was on the fast track pressuring the pharmaceutical industry, the drug companies, to get a vaccine to put this virus to bed as fast as possible. I mean, does anybody remember this? And the media machine at that time that didn't like the guy, they were just hammering him on a lot of things and blaming him for all the problems. And even to the point that the pressure was more of don't trust that guy and don't take the vaccine. And this guy's going to run this country into the ground. And the pressure by the media was you can get rid of this guy and put somebody else in power. Okay, all right. And so then and then the guy that's running, he said he wouldn't be under the gun and pressure people to do things they don't want to do. But yet, when it's all said and done, Trump was pressuring the vaccine to be made as quickly as possible, as the other half of the country is saying, I wouldn't touch his stuff. He's designed something to kill you. Well, then that guy gets, the new guy gets elected, and all of a sudden he picks up what was started, and all of a sudden you've got to have a vaccine. And it's okay, right? Under pressure. And then it even gets to the radical point where the businesses are being pressured or shut down if everybody doesn't have the vaccine. Pressure. Wow. But who started it? Yeah, well, I'm just saying it. We all get, heck bent on one guy versus the other guy, but at the end of the day, it's just, we as a citizens, what happened to our powers to be in this country? Yeah. Right. Yeah, where's that? Where's our pressure? Can't we pressure our politicians and our governing bodies to do things the right thing? Yeah, right. We don't have enough money. The reality is the big guys have the money to play the game. Those who hold the gold, those who hold the gold make the rules. And so for us, peasants, in so many ways, we elect officials that they're just collecting the big check from the big guy that's going to tell them what they're going to do in the end, right? And that's what I think to myself. I talk about this a lot. It's awful quiet. To me, it's kind of concerning. It's too quiet. I mean, it's too quiet. If you go back to 2019, summer 2020, what's going on? Well, here's what's going on. But to me, sadly, the quietness is getting ready to stop. Because guess what happens in January? Who's going to have the majority of the control of the House that's going to start kicking a lot of things to the curb that another party isn't going to want to hear about? And so when does the media machine open the door back up and just ratchet up all the hate because they're not getting their way downtown? And you've got a political party now that has control of what can get done, not done, that doesn't agree with the other side of the majority. It's very obvious. The majority of our media machine social platform leans much more further left than right, and so there's no doubt in my mind by next spring, summer, it's just the protests in the streets. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but I can't see it because you're going to have so many things that are going to be trying to be passed or something to be rolled back, and then the media machine's going to ratchet up because the big guys behind him are going to force them to ratchet it up. Yeah, pressure. Are you under pressure today? I mean, are you under pressure because you're family? You got too much family around you? Are you under pressure because you've got deadlines by the end of the year to finish up your projects for the end of the year for your fiscal year of your business or job? Are you under pressure because, I mean, the list goes, on and on and on, and hopefully the pressure isn't going to make you, well, here's a sad story. So my brother, if you ever watch my videos, you see my brother's house, and I always point out that house next door to him is we call it the meth house because sadly it's a drug house where the mother that raised two boys and a girl, and they all grew up, and the girl, she ran away because she saw what her mother let happen in that home, and the two boys never left. Well, the mother passed away, I think this past spring, April this past year. And so the conditions of that home, she was actually in the hospital for quite a while before she died, probably a good year or two. But anyway, so there's just my brother. It's just bad. It's a very bad, toxic environment there. Well, my brother's texting me yesterday morning while I'm in church, and he's showing the picture to me, the next door neighbor, the ambulance or the morgue squad is there carrying out a woman's body. So it's okay. So you have to say to yourself, what probably happened at that guy's house that Saturday night into Sunday morning? Yeah, so the lady obviously OD'd. So there's somebody that has a family member that is no longer here because of another fentanyl, meth overdose, the pressure, right? Why did that person resort to that lifestyle? What pressured her to go to that lifestyle of just, a total loser lifestyle in life, to be addicted to drugs and doing fentanyl and all the wrong things? What's the pressure? Where'd the pressure come from? Where'd that come from? But anyways, All right, just thought I'd kind of share some views and ideas. It gets a little political, but who cares? I mean, sincerely, what's the big deal? I mean, why is it everybody gets all riled up and you start talking political? I mean, we have a challenge as citizens of this country, make sure our abiding politicians abide by what we think is right and wrong. But yet they tell you how to act and how you to feel, and you feel good about that? I mean, sincerely? I mean, that's kind of how it plays out. You start taking favoritism to one side of the party or other party, but yet both parties at the same time are doing devious things, and us citizens, we're the ones that pay the bills to fund these people to be downtown and to do things. And we're supposed to be the people that can look at each other and go, does this really make sense? I mean, sincerely, who's telling you this makes sense? Who's pressuring you to think the way you think? That's the real question, because it's obvious pressure makes us do things, good and bad. And so, and more than ever, our country is divided, and the social platform has divided us more because who's been pressuring the social platform? Is it the political parties? It sure is sounding like it. Sound like more than ever, the political party, it could be parties, whatever, is got their hand in this social media thing bigger than ever to progress agendas. All right, everybody. Hopes everybody has a pressure-free day. How about that? Hope you have a day off or something. I don't know. Hope everybody had a pressure-free holiday. And I'm going to wrap it up there. So God bless. Stay tuned and stay safe. And thanks for watching Ice Age TV.